Hey everyone, in today's DMZ video, I wanted to make a guide on how to find cephalexin, hydrochloride, acetone, and hydrogen peroxide effectively and easily in DMZ Season 4. And you're going to need a bunch of these, 4 of each of them to be precise, for the Insured weapon slot cooldown number 2 for your second Insured slot. Now these can be tricky to find if you don't know where to look, but there is a very clear and simple method to get them and get yourself done with this particular operating base challenge as fast as possible. So we're going to dive into this thing right away, and the first thing you want to do is get a secure bag. The secure bag is definitely needed in order to maximize this run and make it as fast as humanly possible. And the reason for this is when you extract with an item with your secure bag, it stays on you for the next time that you load in. And so we are able to, once we find 1, 2, 3, or 4 of these, we can then endlessly go back into a raid and evacuate with it in our bag over and over again instead of having to re-find them each time. Very important note, at the time of this recording, the secure bag was not holding items after death like it was previously in Season 3. Whether or not this is a bug or not, I don't know, but please keep this in mind as you're going through this. Death is very bad. So step 1 is to get that secure bag. A gold skull, 2 electric drills, and 2 gas cans are required for this. The gold skull is most easily found off of killing the chemist. He is super easy. He only takes 2 sniper shots to the head to kill. He has a guaranteed skull when he dies. The Juggernaut also has a guaranteed skull on Al Mazrah, unless he has the weapons case. And the Scavenger always has a guaranteed skull as well. Also, you can find a ton of skulls now in the banks on Al Mazrah. There are a bunch of banks all over, and inside of there, just loot every single floor, and there are a lot of skulls in there as well. The electric drills and the gas cans, I mean, the gas stations are the best spot for these. They did buff up the number of electric drill spawns for Season 4, so you're going to see them a lot more in gas stations. So definitely check out all of those gas stations for both the gas cans and the electric drills. If for some reason you can't find the drills in the gas stations, you can always check Quarry. Inside the warehouses, you're going to find a lot of electric drills there as well. So now that we have the secure bag, we're going to go into Al Mazrah, and the first thing we're going to do is grab a helicopter. The helicopter is pretty much essential for this particular run. If you want to do this as fast as possible, the helicopter is required. So hop in, the moment you spawn in, look for that helo and push right towards it, grab it. And once you have it, we are going to start farming the hidden caches all throughout Al Mazrah. There are a ton of these circular hidden caches all over the place in Al Mazrah, and there's some areas that have a much higher density than others. And there actually is a map. I'll have a link in the description below for this map. Now the map that you're seeing right here is actually probably going to be incomplete when you look at it. I'll have a separate one as well that I use. Season 4, they took out a lot of these hidden caches, so the people that are making this map that I have in the description below are still trying to catch up with all the new locations and what was removed and what is still there. And so I will have an additional map as well, because this one is actually showing less than what I have found. But they will update this over time, and perhaps even when you look at it, it'll be up to date. But for now, it is incomplete, but I'll have a map that is a little bit more complete as well in the description. Okay, so we've got our helicopter, we've got our secure bag, and now we're going to fly around and hit some of these hidden cache areas. The 2 best spots, in my opinion, are the airport, where along the runway, there are a bunch of caches right there, as well as North Oasis. And both of these are my favorite spots because of the high density, and there's virtually no AI shooting you in the back when you're trying to do this. So they're also just safer areas to be in, a little bit kind of off the beaten path, if you will. So I love these 2 spots as my primary, but as I'm traversing and moving around the map and I am just going like in a clockwise circle, I am hitting all the other ones in between that I deem easy to grab. And you are just going to endlessly hit these hidden caches, and you're going to find cephalexin in there, and you're going to find hydrochloride, and you're going to find acetone, and you're going to find hydrogen peroxide. You can find all 4 of them inside of these hidden caches. So I think in like the first 60 or 50 or so of these hidden caches, I only found 2 of what I was looking for. But the next like 10 after that, I found 3. So I think I just had a little bit of bad luck to begin with, a little bit of positive luck on the back end of that. So do not give up if you feel like you're not finding them. You will find them in these hidden caches. Now, the alternate strategy here is you can, as you're doing the hidden caches and maybe perhaps done with your entire run of what you're willing to do on Al Mazrah, you can then sneak into Kosha Complex. And Kosha Complex does have a lot of these as well. They're not quite as common as they are in the hidden caches, in my opinion, but they are definitely there. And inside of the white medicine cabinets. Inside of those white medicine cabinets, you can find these items. Now, a lot of people are not comfortable with Kosha Complex, so it's not required to go in there. But again, it is an alternate option, especially if you go in through the radiation area in Oasis, that entrance. There are a lot of medical bins on the way into the center area, and then you can clear all around the center area, as well as any of the other starting zones. If you want to go back into them from the main area in Kosha Complex, you can backtrack into all the other starting zones and hit medical cabinets there. Also, Alpha Cluster, the area in Kosha Complex that requires the car battery and the jumper cables to get into, you're going to find a ton of medical cabinets in there as well, all around the perimeter of that large room. Now, keep in mind, I have never seen any of these bottles of pills loose loot inside Kosha Complex. Every single one that I've ever found was inside a medical cabinet, so keep that in mind. Now, there are some other options that you might find these bottles, and one is inside loose loot spawns in hospitals in Al Mazrah. So on the shelves in the hospitals, I have absolutely seen these. It is quite rare, but it is possible, and for sure you can find them in hidden caches on any of the other maps. Ashika Island, for example, you can hit those caches as well. But again, Al Mazrah is going to be the safest and fastest play because you have the helicopter, and if for some reason someone's pushing you while you're trying to loot them, you can just hop right back into helo and fly away and go to a different spot, loot, and come back when things have cooled down. So as you continue to do this, it's going to take a few runs in Al Mazrah to get all of these. But the key is to get at least one of all four of them, right? Because if you get at least one of all four and you extract, and then you extract again with the secure bag, you now have 2 of all 4, and then 3 of all 4, and then 4 of all 4, if you have found one of each to begin with. So finding one of all 4 is the #1 priority. And a big tip here, and this is what I did, once I got what I was looking for, at one point I had 3 out of the 4, and I literally just came in with 50,000 from my wallet and just went right to the first buy station, bought a personal exfil, and left. And I got all 3 all maxed out right away, and then I was just looking for the last one, which was hydrogen peroxide for me. I finally found it, and then I just did the same thing again. I brought in 50K 4 times, and boom, I was done. So that is the hard part, getting those bottles of pills. The formaldehyde and the chlorine for the second Insured slot cooldown reduction #2 is much easier. You're going to go into Kosha Complex, and there are the wooden crates that are on the ground, and when you loot those, finding chlorine and formaldehyde is actually quite common. But those only spawn in Kosha Complex, so you do have to go in there for this, but the spawn rate is much higher than the other bottles. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching. As always, really appreciate it. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below, and make sure to drop a sub for more DMZ content, and I'll catch you in the next one.